All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Andrew Broussard Watercolors. Today, just going to be playing around, splashing around. I have a free stock photo from Google of an old castle. So I think this one's going to be more kind of gothic, romantic oriented, more of a moody painting than the recent autumn paintings that I've been doing. And yeah, so I'm just wetting the paper and I'll just take it from there and kind of just go with the flow. So in front of me I have a quarter sheet of Stonehenge Aqua. It is 140-pound cold press and it is 100% cotton. I get this paper because it comes out to $4 a sheet for the large sheets if you buy it in packs of 10. So with $40 from either Jerry's Artorama or Blick.com, you can get a whole bunch of this paper, and usually free shipping at that. And you break it up into quarters. I used to cut it up so that I had some 8x10s and 5x7s and all that, but I just really don't paint that much in that size anymore. I do need to get around to doing that because I know some people like to purchase paintings in smaller sizes. But I just found that this is just like the easiest for me to just dive into paint and just have fun. So while that soaks, so I'm filming this live on Twitch, and I upload it later on to YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, if you look down below, you'll see a link for my Twitch if you ever want to check that out. Sometimes I just film directly to my camera so that I can pause whenever I am drying off and whatnot. But sometimes my phone will stop recording video after 30 minutes. So it's been causing issues, so I need to figure that out. So I'm just doing a live. And plus, there's a lot of great people on Twitch that come in and hang out. For example, Raz just came in. Raz is from up in Canada. Awesome person I haven't talked to in a while because I haven't been up on Twitch in a while. How you doing, Raz? I think the last time Raz was on, they're talking about essentially panning for gold up in Canada, which was pretty cool. So you're doing well? That's good. And I think the last time we had talked, Canada had their COVID lockdown as well. I'm not sure how things are looking up there. I remember saying that, hearing that a lot of exercising, like outdoor stuff like that, was in Canada, and just going out and about, going for walks and whatnot. I think it was what Raz was saying. Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to see you too. My job, where I teach, about 4 hours ago, and today is a Sunday, had decided to essentially go virtual. I think the superintendent put it out there on Facebook, so it's like out there knowledge. About half the teaching staff is quarantined. That doesn't mean that half the teaching staff has it, but half the teaching staff is quarantined. So up in Alberta, almost fully locked down again. Yeah, I think, today this one is being filmed at the end of November. I think it's November 30th, or today's the 29th of the 30th. So for future reference, people that are watching this in the future, for the historians and all that, we're in that cold winter months where things are getting crazy worldwide. And we adopted a new kitten who's, I think, essentially almost a young adult at this point, age-wise. So we've had her for a few months. We call her Percy. And I've been letting the cats into the art room a lot more to hang out. So you'll hear a lot of background noises, or me hollering at them. So this is raw sienna. I'm just going wet and wet with it. I was thinking Payne's Gray. I'm debating Payne's Gray. But I'm also just worried about being too dull with this painting. But then again, my past few paintings have been very fall, autumn oriented. And on that note, here's some Payne's Gray. Just feeding it wet and wet. I really don't want the brush strokes to show through. I just want it to soften up. Alright, so that's just placing that Payne's Gray around there. I'm going to use my ultramarine light red combo for purple. Purple gray background. Let's kind of set the scene, see where everything is. There's going to be a landmass back here. Then landmass jutting out in front. Just kind of blocking in my shapes, get an idea. I'll put the castle in this region. So let's just be kind of just architectural practice. Now in the photo, so like I said, I'm using a stock photo from Google. And it's kind of sad. I decided to type in just old castle in Google. And I wasn't on the images yet. It was just in Google, just the search. And I think there's a company called Old Castle. And no offense to the company or anything like that, but it's just so weird where common terms are now, well, I don't know if Old Castle is a common term, but at this point now it's just the name of a business. This is just getting a little bit of an idea of where I'm going to put this building. I'm really not going to put too much in place. This is just for me to start planning things out. Some stronger raw sienna. Now that might be an issue, how strong that is, because it's a distant object. Let me mix some ultramarine in there to kind of mute it. There we go. Some burnt sienna. Yeah, a lot of common business names. These are closer rocks right in here. And in my YouTube channel and my Twitch is Andrew Broussard Watercolors, so I went with the first thing that came to mind. But a part of me, like, I started longboarding again, after a 10-year hiatus, and take an approach called surf skate as well. And I want to like film that and put it on YouTube and do reviews. But then a part of me is like, how do I how do I have that on the same channel as Andrew Broussard watercolors? And then people that follow me for watercolors, if they get a notification, and hopefully people are like, yeah, a notification from Andrew, there's a new painting video up. If I did that, hopefully they wouldn't be like, what is this? Why is there videos of him skateboarding? You know, because also when I was younger, I never did the whole like downhill slide stuff and things like that, and I got a pair of gloves for it, and a part of me like wants to kind of review the gloves and talk about what I learned. And I guess I just like blabbing, which is fun. I'm just kind of putting different values in here, trying not to turn it to mud in the sense that it's just way too much, but also trying to get a lot of variety in there for just the landmass that's going to rise up in front of the castle. Even the bushes that will sit in front as well. So I'm kind of working forward back to in this one. And that is Percy attacking wax paper, which I had between oil paintings. Percy, I'm not going to be able to use that paper again. Yeah, I got to be colorful while I skate. Maybe have a brush in each hand, right? And then whenever you get into skateboarding and all that, whenever you buy stuff, it's weird. Within longboarding, skateboarding, anything within that community, everything comes with stickers. Like I never was a sticker person. Like I never really covered things with stickers and whatnot. And my fiance is like, oh, she could put all over her laptop, which she did, and the back of her cell phone case and all that other stuff. So she did that. And then today I found some stickers when I was going through stuff. I was adjusting one of the boards, and I was like, oh, I could put these stickers on my helmet. So I was like, finally gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna do stickers. And she's like, no, I need it for my laptop. So I don't know what's gonna happen. Yeah, I could wear a watercolor advertising t-shirt. In the last video I talked about the markets lately. I'm just playing around with Payne's Gray and Burnt Umber, or Burnt Sienna right now. Just playing with this water, coming up with an idea. And then I'll put the building in whenever I'm done with all that. Anyway, so there really hasn't been much market stuff. Next weekend I do have a farmer's market, but the farmer's markets have been pretty weak lately, and it's just, you know, the state of just the economy and everything. Oh, in the UK, many graffiti boards are all pasties and stickers. Oh wow! So there's like a whole big community for stickers and sticker art. I guess it's easier than stencils and whatnot. I grabbed a little bit of Venetian red right here. So he follows bulletin boards that have like kind of a community forum of stickers, or are there, like, is it one artist doing a whole sticker scene? I know that sounds weird, but is that what it is? Oh, yeah. That's an easy thing to put up. But yeah, so we have stickers galore. Just putting a little bit in there. The reason where that old castle is going to be. I think I was blabbing about the state of art currently, and the markets and the festivals, how they all been like kind of shut down and canceled and whatnot, which is totally fine. I mean, it's a bummer, but it is what it is. But we've been having the farmers markets, and they've been pretty weak with sales, which is okay. Like, I completely understand. The whole selling of the painting is to kind of support the habit, the hobby. So I have the last one of the year, I think, is this coming weekend, and hopefully it'll be good. If not, it's just a nice outing, and hopefully, you know, people are safe and whatnot while we do it. So it's going to be in that region. Maybe I'll put in some distant objects. The one thing that, like, is difficult with the wet and wet for me is always finding different approaches to buildings. In some buildings, I'll take a paper towel and lift up around the edges and kind of create my sharpness to it. And this one, I really don't want to do that because the sky itself is kind of that haze, and I think it would just interrupt it too much. Oh, okay, so you got something during this, I guess, essentially, I don't know if they'd have like a Black Friday sale up in Canada, because I think you guys have an earlier Thanksgiving, but you got a 50mm lens. Yeah, I'm going to play around with this. I'll start putting windows and whatnot in, and accent shadows. Everything's still wet and wet right now, and I'm just kind of taking it slow. So, scrape in a little bit of rock. So this is the edge of the card. I'm not sure what castle it is. If I post it on Facebook in an art group, there's a lot of people in Europe that are in the art groups, and they'll probably be able to know. Like I said, it's just a generic stock. So 50mm lens. I know you were growing vegetables over the summer, and I think you were photographing them, right? What else have you been photographing? And while you type that out, I'll blab about what I've been up to. $50mm for portraits. Starting to learn take pics of me. Okay, so you're taking pictures of yourself? Oh, with portraits. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Portrait photography. Oh, I grabbed some sap green, and I broke the rule that I always give, is that whenever going wet and wet, you want more pigment and less water. And I'm causing cauliflowers in that region by having too much water. But we'll work with it. We'll let it happen. So rocks and fall, winter season, yeah. With portrait work, as a good side hobby, graduation photos from high school and whatnot, that's really common down here in Louisiana for people to have somebody go on location and take graduation photos of their graduating senior. And that'd be a good little side hustle. I don't know if they do that up in Canada, but if they don't, you could start that. I'm adding that excessive water in this spot, and like I said, it's going to cause the cauliflowers, but I'm thinking I'll just let it happen. I'll just let that weird texture take place and roll with it and just experiment. So that'll be part of the experiment for this one. Almost kind of like, I feel like this is almost a approach of the Chinese landscape painting, where you'll brush in ink, and then on top of the ink after it dries, you'll paint in color, watercolor. But so the Payne's gray is almost acting as the ink, and then I'm taking sap green and burnt sienna and putting it in as color. Oh yeah. That's on TikTok. I had downloaded TikTok just to like watch some funny videos, but then I would shut it off because it was like eating battery life, but I would still get TikTok notifications. So I'm like, I wasn't sure why it wasn't sitting in the background and why it was burning battery. So I actually deleted it today. I might put it back on, but I just didn't like how much battery life it was taking on my phone. But I have a Samsung SG8, and that's what I use to film. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of Payne's gray mixed with burnt sienna. We haven't done any dry off yet. I'm just kind of building this up. So your mom, so she got in on it. That's cool. That's funny. That's all someone like, parents will support or become part of. Essentially, I guess is it a performance art, or was it just a photo? All right, let's see. So all that shaking noise is Haynes on my writing desk. No, it's Harrison on the writing desk. We got too many cats. No, we don't. I love them all. You have Haynes out to Harrison on the writing desk, cleaning himself or whatever. And I have that area set up all kind of old-timey. It has an LED candle on it, but the LED candle is in it's a modern but old-timey looking candle enclosure, and that's what all that noise is. I may be too bold with the colors in the back. Harrison, when Harrison was named, none of those names came to mind. And then I showed her Star Wars, and she just like fell in love with George Harrison. Which is weird, right? And then we have Hamilton, or Hammy, who she my fiance loves Hamilton, the play, but she saw it after she named Hamilton. So I think essentially all the names of the cats that she has that are males are going to be named with H's, and that's where she gets it from. Like Haynes Michael, Harrison George, and Hamilton Malachi. That's Hammy's middle name. They only get said when they're getting yelled at, so. And since they're such sweet cats, they never get yelled at. That's why I don't know the middle names really quick. And then the cat that we adopted over the summer, a female, is Percy, short for Persephone. And she's totally adorable. I really need to put up some pictures of her on Instagram. She is like totally latched onto me, where if I'm taking a bath, she'll come into the bathroom. She won't go in the bath, but she'll climb up onto my chest, which will be out of the water, and sit there kissing my face. So it's pretty awesome. I mean, it's technically like my first cat, and she's, totally love her. I would like to start carrying around treats in my pocket so that I can kind of almost get her to train her a little bit like a dog to come with it when I say her name and whatnot. Let me just move real quick. Harrison, you can't go up there, buddy. Yeah, so I'm just playing around with this water in here, just trying to get an idea. I think we need more earth tones in this region. I'm sure you can benefit from some light red oxide. Yeah, definitely a different painting approach for me with this one. Definitely more when I was doing the kind of the Chinese painting, which I know is a weird generalization, but that's what it feels like. Oh, a clicker or something like that. Yeah, that would work if I made like a clicking sound. That's probably what I should get. I just need the clicker to sound like the cat food container opening up. Oh, Harrison, you can't get up there, buddy. Harrison, you can't be up there, dude. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't let him get up on top of the mats for my paintings. His bent mat is worthless. So I'm going to wind up playing around with this guy a lot. I really want it to stay a hazy-ish looking castle. I do have to kind of keep the linear perspective going. I don't like drawing lines, unfortunately, beforehand. which I know is a bad habit. I had a oil painting professor in college who had he had said if you could, he would look at a scene, and he had like really awesome city scenes that he would paint, and I believe he'd paint them on location, and he would say he would draw it first, and if he can draw it, then he knew he could paint it. His approach to painting was, what was the book that we had read? Because we had like we don't like read and follow the book in class, but there was kind of a suggested reading material, and it was Hawthorne on Painting. That's who it was, Hawthorne on Painting, where they interviewed a lot of a painter's former students. I think the painter had passed away, and from the interviews kind of put together ideas and whatnot. And that seems to be pretty common in art books and art teaching, is interviewing former students. And Hawthorne on Painting was kind of the whole idea of laying a color next to each other, and looking for that color throughout, and kind of just laying the colors down. That's probably very terrible butchering of the idea. A Studio Ghibli artist documentary. He watercolored The Air is Super Wet in Japan, and he used an interesting science for with wetting paper. Front flipped and re-wet the back, then he pressed the paper onto his wood desk. Yeah, to normalize the paper and did not bubble. Yeah, that's something I've actually read with watercolor, where Harrison, I need you to please settle down. You can wet the back of the paper and lay it down, and it'll stick kind of flat to the desk that you're working on. This one I have felt down on this desk, and that harkens back to when I was doing the Chinese watercolor, but using I was using a lot of rice paper. So it's just like a different paper material. If I didn't have this felt on it, I would try that. It's just kind of become a staple for my desk, even though it doesn't really serve a purpose other than keeping the desk clean, but the desk doesn't ever get seen, so why is it being kept clean? It's like one of those kind of things. Studio Ghibli, for those that don't know, and those that watch people on Twitch will know what Studio Ghibli is, but people on YouTube might not. Very famous, just anime studio that has just amazing artists. There's a video that goes around on Facebook or different social media that'll have different foods being cooked from different Studio Ghibli films, and they just look delicious and they look real. Really just amazingly talented people. Some Studio Ghibli films. Was Princess Mononoke Studio Ghibli? Because me and my brother watched that movie non-stop as kids. Yeah, Princess Mononoke is just really awesome. Everything that's facing this way, I'm going to get a little bit warmer. So I'm going to use raw sienna, burnt sienna more on this side, and more Payne's Gray ultramarine on the other side. I think Howl's Moving Castle, My Neighbor Totoro, all those movies were Studio Ghibli as well. A lemon yellow and sap green. Build up this tree mass in front. Gonna let it blend. I think all those films are up on either Hulu or Netflix, but just not in America. Like it was a regional thing that they opened up for. Yeah, so Netflix Canada finally got rights to air them. Netflix America does not have the rights yet, and we are disappointed because that is some good stuff. In fact, I went onto Netflix or Hulu looking for South Park today, and South Park is no longer on Hulu. It's on HBO Max. All right, raw sienna. So it's really not too raw sienna on this side, but I'm just doing that to kind of accentuate this side of the building, to kind of, I don't know if the word would be like force perspective or to give one side light and put the other one more in shadow. I'm just pushing pigment around inside this. Oh man. Well, whenever Shelby, my fiance, whenever she says my art room needs to be cleaned up, I just need to play back to that audio of me saying, "Oh man," that's when Harrison was taking a 6-foot jump down from the top of something, knocking things down. This is more ultramarine. There's a Facebook group that I follow, and I'm not really sure what like the rules are for the Facebook group. I don't post in it. It's the golden age of drawing and illustrating and painting, and just people post like the name of the artist, the name of the artwork, the years that the artist was alive, when the artwork was painted, stuff like that, and then post a picture of the artwork. And I mean, I don't know who the people are that are posting these or where they're getting the photo reference from it, but it's like mid to late 1800s to early to mid 1900s, 1950s. Beautiful works of art. Some Gothic work makes its way in there, and there was one recently that I had saved the name of the artist and whatnot. I think that kind of got me in the mood to do a building painting. Yeah, I have a Samsung phone. It's a Samsung, the SG8 is what I use to film. I'm guessing there's a way to jailbreak it so I can watch Studio Ghibli. Just feeding it a little darks. I think this has been kind of permeating into my approach lately. There you go. There's an SAT word. ACT, SAT word for you. Permeate, to, I guess, break between barriers or go into something, to seep in. The whole just feeding color wet and wet. I feel like I've been doing that a lot more lately. That and the drying off and doing the harsh lines over the soft lines for that contrast there. There's a corner here. And I'm not trying to do this one to like specifics or anything like that. I just want to slowly start accentuating those edges, which I'm definitely not following the I don't want to say like dogma of the fast and loose painters, where one use one brush stroke when, you know, don't use 3 brush strokes when 1 brush stroke would suffice, something like that. Here I am, I'm just, you know, kind of tickling and pushing around, but it's fun. It's fun to see what can happen feeding those things in. Like there's kind of a little, I don't know if it'd be like a little parapet or what the term is, but you know, I know the one side is going to be dark, then the other side I get more raw sienna. As long as you follow the rules for linear perspective, it looks somewhat convincing. Though, every time, like whenever I do something like this, I should probably do a little bit more dry off. Like I wanted to put a window in right here, and I should have dried right there. Okay. Art and Culture app by Google is part of the Google Art project. Their goal is to have HD public photos of all paintings. That's cool to have that information out there. So Art and Culture app, I'm gonna have to look at that. There's a documentary, Royal Paint Box, with the Prince of Wales, talking about the royals who have painted and are trained artists. Mostly watercolorists, the royals. Oh, really cool. Yeah, I never saw that documentary. Watercolor kind of hit mainstream, and you probably know more having seen that documentary. I think watercolor hit mainstream in the 1800s, Victorian era, and you know, that's a lot of times when a lot of art critics and all that also started coming into play. But yeah, the Victorian era, and I think the Georgian era, I'm not too sure. In the photo, there's like some nice dark trees and shadows back here, but I don't want to draw the eye to the edge of the page, so it might be good to kind of just blend everything together. Just use that technique where there's not too much tonal contrast, just so we don't lead the eye right off the page. Oh, Queen Victoria had a silver paint box. Yeah, there was one paint box company or something like that during the Victorian era that actually produced like 1,000,000 boxes or 1,000,000 pallets. It was, it really was the thing. Did they talk about a tool called a Claude mirror, or Claude Lorraine mirror? It's something that I want to make. It's essentially the Victorian version of a Instagram filter, where it was a curved mirror painted black on the backside, and it would put everything in dark tones, and you would stand and you would look at an object over your shoulder, and it would change the I guess it would make it tonally looking, and artists would use it. For those watching this at a later date, I completely apologize that this video has no direction, and I'm not really giving much of a tutorial with this one. This is just me kind of playing around and blabbing, hanging out with Raz on the live stream. $200 years of paint and supplies. Yeah, Winsor Newton was, I think, the first one to put paints in a tube, and they also were the first that came out with what they call it, Chinese white, right? And that was like a big thing. Yeah, you could use black, like just a cell phone turned off, and look into it and hold it over your shoulder, and that would give you the black. Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that's where like the title of, was it Netflix, Black Mirror, right? It was the whole staring into the cell phone. I think that's what Black Mirror refers to, is the color of the cell phone screen. Feeding in some more ultramarine Payne's gray onto this side. I really want to start putting in windows and whatnot, but as you can see, it's quite wet, and I really just don't want to do a dry off. Yeah, I haven't seen all of Black Mirror, but golly, that is a crazy show. I'm gonna do some lines like that to kind of give that, where my kind of, there we go. Let's see if I can get this more nicely shaped. And that is Percy playing with the cables for my lights. Oh, so Raz is talking about the Black Mirror reference. So Nostradamus used a black mirror for his future fortune telling. Yeah, because all the stuff in this show, I mean, not giving anything away. It's all takes place in future alternate timelines, right? And it's essentially all about technology and how technology affects, the human experience. Um, yeah, if Nostradamus used a black mirror, that makes sense too. Just kind of tickling, pushing paint around. I remember as a kid, History Channel, Discovery Channel, what have you, would have a lot of documentaries on Nostradamus. Kind of like how nowadays there's a lot of the ancient aliens and whatnot. Back then it was more Nostradamus stuff. Then there was a lot of documentaries about like Bible code and things like that, where there'd be people that would run the Bible through, I guess, simulators trying to look for patterns and different, word recognition to see what was going on for prophecies and whatnot. What else was there? There's like an entranceway right here. I'm kind of pulling pigment off and out. I'm lifting using the brush itself. Since it's wet right there, if I pull that, I can then lift up and lighten around it. I could do that in other spots too if I wanted to lighten up. As long as it's wet there. Could do it right there too. See, you get to a point where, and I'm not trying to say that I'm far from good at painting or anything like that. Hey, Equal Mage, how's it going? Oh, Robot Wars, yeah, where they had the robots that would come in and, yeah, I think that's what they called it. Was it Robot Wars? What was the name? I had some students that were part of clubs that would do that. They had to have the robots complete different tasks. And they'd have a group of students that were in charge of kind of building the robot and the mechanical aspect of it. There'd be a group of students that were in charge of the coding aspect, etc. Okay, MIT challenges. Yeah, so they give it. I think they'd have to like pick up a golf ball, bring a golf ball to another location, and it would have to put the ball down, right? A little bit of lifting right there. I feel like should build up the pigment. Get some interesting darks in here. I'm going to step away from all this for a moment and get a really nice light. See if I can kind of put far distant effect back here once it dries. Give the idea of hills. It'll look strong now, but it should lighten up and dry as kind of like a watermark. Could probably even put little buildings back there, but that might hurt the whole feel. Yep, so definitely different than my normal painting approach, but having fun. Let's see. I think I do need to do a dry off and to then put in a little bit of window action. So if you have headphones on, please watch your ear. So I'll do a dry off. We'll see how it looks, see what needs to be worked on with this. All right. Should take about, hopefully just 10 seconds. Dry enough. Now I'm gonna tickle with a little rigger. We'll see how it looks. A part of me is like really hesitant, but I think it's I think it needs to be done to learn, if that makes sense, where I don't know how it would look if I went over it with this, and maybe I need to do it just to learn, even if it's kind of like a sacrificial type thing and it doesn't come out that good. It's just helping, just part of the long game. But I think I do need to keep this watered down and not accentuate too much. And with these windows, just any windows, the top and the bottom, as long as you keep linear perspective with the little angles, it really does help. And you're always told not to draw every single brick, not to put every single window in. You let the kind of illusion take over to create the whole scene. with these marks, I'm going to kind of switch up that angle that they're at in order to help with the perspective, the linear perspective. Just little things like that will hopefully create a somewhat convincing scene. I could probably darken this. I want to soften it. I'm just using the whole side of that rigger to lay down a straight line. A little broken line is kind of giving that brick help. So it's just the side of that rigger. I don't know how well it's showing up on the feed because of how thin these lines are. It's adding a very nice subtle textural element to these. I don't like those, but I did like it on the other side. All right, let me stand up for a moment. Let's see. Might just do a little bit more accentuation, a little crisping out some edges, and then I'm going to call it I really appreciate y'all stopping by and joining me for the live stream. And those of you watching on YouTube at a later date, I appreciate you watching. Please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting. I have a Patreon account if you ever want to support me. If not, totally fine. Just liking and subscribing helps me out and helps the channel out. And hope you all stay safe and healthy. We're moving into the winter months, so these are the months that they warned us about. So please be safe and healthy. And if you ever have any art questions, any comments, concerns, any suggestions that you have for me, any ways that I can improve, let me know. But do so, constructively. No need to be a nasty troll, right? Because we're making castles, we're not making moats. We're not trolls. Yeah, you could troll me after that comment because that was pretty lame. So, but yeah, you all stay safe, everybody. And I'll talk to y'all soon. All right, I'm going to end it at that. Have a great night. Bye.